We do not have a severe thunderstorm warning issued. Again, I want to repeat that. And again, if you're in Rio Grande City, McAllen, Edinburgh, Harlingen, South Potter Island, you're not seeing any of this. In fact, you might be going, I can't even believe it's raining. In case you missed this too, we have a heat advisory this afternoon from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. So we do have a very hot day ahead in addition to kind of dodging some of these showers and storms. I'm going to be back with some more updates on not only these storms pushing through the valley, but also your forecast coming up.
Thanks, Jessica. Well, thousands of Canadian residents are being told to evacuate after a raging wildfire has resulted in poor air quality and reduced visibility. Now, the fire is in northeastern British Columbia. It started Friday and has scorched at least 4,200 acres so far. The fire is located near Fort Nelson and the Fort Nelson Indian Reserve, which has a population of about 3,000 people. Officials say that fire restrictions will remain in effect until conditions improve. Last year, Canada experienced a record number of wildfires that sent smoke into parts of the United States. And happening today, crews in Baltimore plan to do controlled demolition on the collapsed portion of the Key Bridge. Back in March, the cargo ship called the Dolly lost power and crashed into one of the bridge's support columns. Now, the controlled demolition is going to allow the Dolly to be refloated and guided back into the port of Baltimore. This is going to allow for normal ship operations to resume. And a star witness for the prosecution could testify today in one of former President Donald Trump's trials. Now, Michael Cohen is Trump's former lawyer who pleaded guilty to paying women who claimed that they had affairs with the former president. He is expected to testify about those payments. Trump is also accused of falsifying business records to hide the payments ahead of the 2016 election.
Al Capone was so mean that if you went to dinner with him and he didn't like you, you'd be dead the next morning. And I got indicted more than him on bullshit.
The prosecution says that they could rest their case as soon as the end of this week. Trump, of course, denies the relationship and pled not guilty. And in another New York courtroom, jury selection will begin today. Jury selection is set to start in New Jersey. Senator Bob Menendez's federal corruption trial. The Democrat and his wife are accused of taking bribes from Egypt and Qatar for political favors. Prosecutors say that Menendez raked in hundreds of thousands of dollars to fund his lavish lifestyle, and he denies it. More lawmakers on Capitol Hill are slamming President Biden over his warning to Israel that if it invades Rafah, the United States will not supply it with weapons. Our Washington correspondent, Reshad Hudson, has the latest.
This warning from President Biden to Israel is once again putting congressional Republicans at odds with this White House. The Biden administration is reaffirming its support for Israel's war against Hamas.
So no one has done more than Joe Biden.
However, the administration is concerned about Israel's conduct in the war in Gaza.
There are certain systems that we're not going to be supporting and supplying.
Last week, President Biden said in an interview that the U.S. would stop shipping certain weapons that could be used for an assault on Rafah if Israel makes the decision to invade. The president is facing scrutiny from Republicans like Arkansas Senator Tom Cotton and South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham over those comments.
Joe Biden's position is de facto for Hamas victory at this point.
Give Israel the bombs they need to end the war they can't afford to lose.
Maryland Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen supports President Biden's plan and has long called for the White House to use its leverage over Israel as it prepares for an invasion into Rafah.
I think the president is absolutely right to withhold these big bombs.
For now, the White House says other weapon system deliveries will continue. Reporting in Washington, Reshad Hudson, back to you.
Well, you guys, still tracking those